Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So in today's video I want to talk about how chosen ones use isolation, time in isolation rather, to their advantage, how it helps them, how it helps us. And it really is quite simple. I mean, it's just the lack of outside energies that can come in and distract or really like throw us for a whirl. It's just that simple, really. It's being able to be grounded in yourself, what you really want, what it is that you're after. Like, it just, there's some type of level of clarity and even claircognizance that is afforded to people in isolation. And I mean, there is some form of long suffering with it. Like you long to be out there, you long to be, in public or with like a bunch of friends or even just working, like, man, I've wanted to work for over a year now and I can't find anything out here in Canada. It's just abysmal, but that's just how it is, like I've spent my time on other things and I've been able to reconnect with a side of myself that conveys confidence, that conveys what I am capable of on my own, and I don't need a job or money to afford me that. I just need to be connected within myself, and that's really what you get out of being alone and not having either energy pullers or at least like not having them really in your energy often. But that's just really what you get from being able to protect your energy for a certain amount of time. And in the past, like when I lived with friends even, like, you can't really tell other people's intentions. You can't tell if they're really like playing some like little games behind your back or anything most of the time. Unless like, you're really strong with your intuition, right? But when you disconnect from that for a long enough period, that's where things start to like, slip by you. And, you kind of have like the gift of hindsight being chosen, but it ain't much of a gift, that's just more like you missed out on the claircognizance of the moment because there's so many convoluted, distracting, say one thing, do another energies around you that it becomes very difficult. So when you're able to reconnect with yourself, when you're able to go on that vacation, when you're able to take that week off, or just even like a couple months just away from other people, like, you hone in on what your values are, you hone in on what your morals are, and you hone in on what actually makes you happy, what it is that you like to do, what propels you forward versus remaining stagnant. And it's not an overnight process in any of these things. It takes years and years of working on these things almost daily. But with time, you really do get that blessing of just claircognizance, clairvoyance. You understand what's coming and you can see it ahead of you. You can see it kind of playing out, if you will, like. And there is a time for that. There's a time also for being out and being social and being around a lot of people, but you really just figure out what your balance is in isolation, and how to put that out into the world, how to put your best foot forward out into the world more evenly, not at such a worldly pace. The world is just so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, there's hardly any time to breathe even, You're constantly going from one thing to the next and the next and the next, and more is asked of you and more is asked of you. And it's not how we're meant to live in some regards, There's a healthy amount of like camaraderie and working together with people and all this, but when you're not able to reap benefit from that, when it doesn't really benefit you, when it doesn't propel you forward in other areas, and you're just, working that job, and it's just, feeling like a dead end constantly. The conversations are dry, like no one has anything intuitive or helpful to say even, and then you get in your own head because you're like, well, this sucks, and I'm barely getting paid a good wage, and I don't have a degree or anything, so I can't really go into what I want to go into yet. And this is something that chosen ones have really had to deal with since COVID. I mean, since the world kind of shut down, at least the Western world shut down, and sought the most out of people in isolation, So now you're starting to really come into the fruits of understanding thyself and being thyself, how much of a reward that is to others. And that is the benefit of being in isolation. It's not some currency, it's not some idea in particular. It's more like a way to live life where you're not just depleted all the time, where you're not waking up every day just exhausted. So yeah, I hope this is a good message for y'all, but I kind of felt inclined to talk about this because I've seen it playing out in my day-to-day, especially lately. Like, I've been waking up a bit tired, a bit exhausted, but that's from like putting in work. I've been making videos a whole bunch for the last 2 months. I've been writing every single day. I've been reading or listening to books or videos of other people of God. So there's been a lot going on behind the scenes, and then I'm working out now too a lot. So at least often enough where I'm like feeling it, So it takes time to find that balance and that equilibrium, but when you're in isolation, it really makes it a lot more clear. So don't be afraid to step out of the limelight, away from some friends, some people, family even, if you have to get that balance of self, because at the end of the day, that is how you help others. That is how you give to others in your best foot forward type of way. It's not by just depleting yourself and being a yes man and constantly there for people. No, it's not even human. You gotta have some time for yourself, so then you can give to others, and in the most effective way possible. So hope this is a good message for y'all. Much love to yous. God bless. And I got some creative and fun collaborations on the way. I'll let you guys know a bit more about that when the time comes. But until that point, take care. Have a good one.